10%, and then the contractor comes in and his number is his number, and then we have 1 3/4 of a field.
Will you look into that, so we know our options between now and the budget?
In terms of
the kind of discount we could get by doing 2, or 3, or carpeting the whole thing.
Okay.
So, all right, I have, Ms. Chris handed me a written proposition, which I think is, I'll just read it. This motion is to pass the following resolution. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Hauppauge Union Free School District is hereby authorized to undertake capital projects for the construction of an artificial turf field at Hauppauge High School and for the removal and replacement of vinyl asbestos tile at Hauppauge High School at a cost not to exceed $1.7 million, which the board is authorized to expend from the district unrestricted fund balance as exists as of June 30th, 2015.
Okay, and before there is a second to that and a vote, there really is one step that has to happen prior to that, and that is that the board has to approve a SECRA in order to then do this. John, do you want to explain that just for a little bit?
Sure. About 12 years ago, SECRA stands for State Environmental Quality Review Act, and it used to be the State Education Department was the lead agent. And they would say if there is a chance that any product you do adversely affects the environment. They got tired of being challenged, so what they did back in 2001, they put the onus on those local municipalities, in this case the Board of Education. So now it's up to the Board of Education with an environmental consultant's guidance to say if it will or will not adversely affect the environment. So we had an environmental consultant come out, do all of the background, and then their recommendation is there that it will not adversely affect the environment by replacing the synthetic turf field and the vinyl asbestos floor tile.
So the board has to officially accept this into their minutes, correct?
That's a motion, correct.
That's a motion.
Yep.
So I'll table or delay my own motion. We'll take this motion ahead of it, which is a motion to accept the SECRA as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Yes.
Just to be clear, what we're voting on here is to accept the environmental study, not anything more than that, correct?
Correct. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0-2. And now renewing my motion, I'm not going to read it again. Do I have a second? Mr. Crawford, thank you. Discussion? Yes?
I do have some concerns. While I can't argue the benefit to sports programs to have turf fields, I think there are a number of issues that have not been addressed. I think in terms of safety issues, we've talked before about crumb rubber and the bad press it's gotten. We've looked at alternatives like Nike Grind, which unfortunately has virtually no press other than from Nike themselves. They claim it to be safe. They reference the fact that the FDA says it's okay to wear on your feet, but I have a hard time drawing the line from that to pulverizing the stuff and spreading it out on the field where our children are going to be playing, having no field data, no analysis, no reports that I could find that it truly is safe. As I said, no bad press, but also not much in the way of good press other than from Nike. There are other issues. There's reports that say that MRSA could be an issue. It certainly is much hotter. I can say that from my own experience, having been on a turf soccer field with my daughter's team. And then there's also the fact, and it was mentioned before, we haven't done much in the way of due diligence about looking at all of the fields and what we could possibly do with natural grass, appropriate irrigation, and subsurface draining. I mean, if you travel around the school district on weekends or after school when practices are happening, again, being a soccer parent, I have to agree that most of our fields are in pretty dreadful shape. But this, while it may relieve some of the burden on the fields here at the high school and perhaps the middle school, I think will do little to ease the burden or make improvements on the fields in the elementary schools. And then lastly, there's the financial piece. The Facilities Committee came forward with $44 million worth of recommendations. If I take away the turf fields, take away the items that they recommend could be postponed, we're still left with about $30 million worth of capital issues that they put forward that they believe should be funded at some point in the not too distant future. I have a hard time supporting $2.6 million. Well, I guess what we're talking about here, $1.5 million at this point in time if we only do the one field. But still, without a broader look at all of the expenses and all of the issues, I do have a difficult time supporting this.
Any further comments, discussion on the motion? Seeing none, before we take a vote in the essence of full disclosure, I am, in addition to my job here as the president, I'm also the president of Hauppauge Little League. I don't view it as a conflict because I'm in favor of it for both organizations equally. That said, all those in favor of the proposition? Opposed? Motion carries 4-1-2. I will take a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? We're adjourned 5-0. For those that are in support of this, your work is not done. You have to come out and vote on May 19th. We'll be on the proposition with the budget. Yes or no? Thank you.